Hi guys, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. I've put a link down there that will help you. Equally, if you would like to reach out for a personal reading, I can be reached at the email address, which is in the description box, or through my social media links. I've put them both down there. There's Facebook and Instagram. Entirely up to you which one you choose. I check them all, so I'm sorry these are coming out late. I like to have them up like the week before the month starts, but I've been horribly ill and so have my children, and I literally just haven't had time. So I'm feeling a little bit better now though, and thank you to those people who sent me messages wishing me a speedy recovery. Much obliged. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it more than you could possibly know. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you find something here for you. And if you fancy subscribing, that would be awesome also. So, with all that out of the way, Cancer, apologies for sounding ill. I'm still very much in the grip of it, but better. Let's get some cards for you. So, I'll do. 3 cards for Cancer, please, for the month of December. Oh, there's the first one. It's the Hermit. Interesting. You've been hiding in your crab, Cancer. In your shell, Cancer. I'm so ill. 2 more cards for Cancer, please. It's Major Arcana anyway. It's the card of Virgo. I don't know if I just said that. I might have said it. I'm sorry. 2 more cards for Cancer, please. We've got the Page of Cups. Interesting. That's water energy. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Oh, and that last one is the Hierophant. Oh, also Major Arcana, card number 5. The card of Taurus. So that's just for the main cards. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 10 of Cups. Nice. That's water energy as well. But it's complete emotional fulfillment, which is definitely something that has been lacking in your life, Cancer, if your recent readings have been anything to go by. So just give these another couple of shuffles, get some clarifiers, and then we'll get on with the reading. Okay. Where's the Hermit here for Cancer, please? Where's the Hermit here for Cancer for December? Oh, we've got the Devil. It's a card of Capricorn, number 15 in Major Arcana. Oh, and the 5 of Swords. Huh. Has there been some unpleasant behaviour going on around you, Cancer? Where's the Page of Cups here? Wait, we've got the 6 of Wands. Awesome. I like that. That's a card of Leo, that one. And we've got the Ace of Wands. Fantastic. I like the way this is going. And where's the Hierophant here? Got the 2 of Swords. Interesting, that just came out for Sagittarius as well. Where's the Hierophant here? And the World. That's so weird. Those 2 cards just came out. Well, in fact, the Hermit, the Ace of Wands, the 6 of Wands, the 2 of Swords and the World all came out. And the 9 of Cups, which is at the bottom of this deck, they all came out for Sagittarius. So if you're dealing with a Sagittarius, you might want to go and watch that video. Because, like, you've just watched me shuffle those cards in front of you, and I shuffle them for a good 5 minutes before I even start the camera rolling. Okay. So the first card you've got is the Hermit. Like I said, it's the card of Virgo in the Major Arcana. But it's a card of deep introspection, right? There's a snake depicted here, down at the bottom, and for me that's knowledge and wisdom. But this dude here, he's looking very old and wise, and he's got a flaming torch. He's lighting his way forwards. The idea of this card is that there are no questions for which you would need the answer about you and your circumstances and how people have behaved and all that kind of thing that you cannot find within you. And quite often we we know the answers to things, but we ignore them. You know, we shelve them, we put them to one side, we don't trust our intuition, we don't trust what our gut's telling us. This card says that you should do that, you know. And sometimes you need to sit and unpick a little bit your own reactions to things, work out why it is that you tolerate certain behaviours, or you turn a blind eye to those behaviours, you know, all that kind of thing. We're talking about shadow work, basically. But there it is, and it's in your recent past. So the two cards that you've got to clarify are the Devil, card of Capricorn, major energy again, and the Five of Swords. And this is a fairly unpleasant pairing, I'm not going to lie. The Devil speaks of, well, it can speak of lots of things, but it primarily speaks about toxicity and abuse and feeling trapped, self-sabotage, that kind of thing. And usually there are, you know, there's this big kind of demon-y thing sat on a plinth with two people in chains in front of him, you know. And that they are trapped, they're enslaved to something. And there can be addiction as well, it can be any of these things. This card and this depiction is slightly different. I've never really looked at this before. And this has got the big winged kind of demon-y thing on it, as you would expect. But in his hands, he's got what seems to be spider web between his two hands, and there's a heart trapped in the middle. Right? I don't know how well the camera's picking that up. I can't really see what you're seeing. And so we get the same message of being trapped, being stuck, feeling like you are stuck. Right? And there's a man down here, and he's naked and he's curled up, but he's covering his head. You know, it's a scene of some pain. It's a woman, actually, now I'm looking at it. But the thing with the Devil, you know, it's like the flip side of the Lover's card. And the Lover's for me is a choice, and so the Devil as well is a choice. Like, it's a choice because you could at any point stop any of these things, and we don't because of fear. You know, if in the case of addiction, we fear we cannot continue without this thing that we are addicted to. You know, and if we did somehow manage to get clean, then you know, life just wouldn't have the same shine to it that it has currently. It's a trick of the mind, obviously. But in the same way, like, this kind of obsessional toxic behaviour, like, all of it is you are able to be released from it, right? Now, this could be a Capricorn coming in, doing this to you. But this could just be an energy that you have been dealing with, you know, and that quite possibly is from someone else, and it equally could be from you. You know, you have to take it as it resonates to you. And then we've got the Five of Swords. Now, like most of the sword suit, the Five of Swords is painful. It talks of trickery and deception often. Yeah. In the standard depiction, there's a chap and he's holding several swords and he looks quite smug. And there are two people walking away into the distance. They've literally put the swords on the ground and they've walked away because they've decided that whatever the benefit would be in continuing to fight like this, it's now outweighed by the cost that they will incur if they continue. So they've put their swords down and they've walked away. You know, this is a battle that they have bowed out of. But this is slightly different. It still has a chap and he's still got three swords, but he doesn't look smug. His sword is drawn and he's got it behind his hand like that. But there are two black swans beneath him who are holding swords as well. And I get the strangest feeling that this is indicating behaviour that has been somewhat unpleasant, but that has been presented to you as being for your own benefit. I don't know why I feel like that, but I do. And combined with the devil, this is gaslighty stuff that I don't like that at all. The fact that it's come out underneath the Hermit makes me think that somewhere in you have realised, even if you haven't quite acknowledged it yet, that this is what's going on, and you know that this is what's going on, and that this is not okay. And if this is happening to you, I'm very, very sorry. But the fact that the heart's in the web here, you know, this is someone very close to you. This is someone that you care for a lot, and who allegedly cares for you. But they've behaved badly, and they've presented it as being either your fault or for your higher good. That's disgusting. I don't like that at all. But then we come here. And this is the Page of Cups. Now this could, you know, we'll get the obvious out of the way. It could be a younger water sign than you, so that's Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, you know. Or it could be you, potentially. But if it is you, I don't like that, because you're showing up in a very disempowered state, right? You should be the Queen of Cups or the King of Cups. This is a page. It's right at the beginning. The pages are messengers, and you know, they bring messages of love generally. That's the idea. So the Page of Cups can often mean an apology. That's a big one. That's a big possibility. I'm kind of drawn to the similarity between these two characters here. Like they look like they could be the same person, just drawn by different artists, right? And they're two entirely different decks, you know? Yeah. And he's kind of side-eyeing me. He's looking off in the different direction, but he's looking at me. And it feels like this is kind of for show. Like there's an apology here, but it's kind of for show. It's quite two-dimensional. He looks very smug. I don't like that at all. You know, there's all this emotion like washing around. The water is emotion in tarot, you know, but he's stood on a rock. And he's kind of looking off in one direction, but his eyes are looking the other way. He's checking to see if you're watching. And to clarify, we have the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Right? This is both fire energy here. I don't know how well you can see that. The Six of Wands is a card of Leo, and it talks about conspicuous public victory. Right? That's its thing. It's winning at something, and that being seen not only by you, you know, this is not merely an internal victory, but other people are seeing it and congratulating you on it. And the Ace of Wands is the infinite potentiality of the sword, the wand suit. So we're talking about creativity and passion and all those cool, good things, you know, spontaneity, living in the moment as well. You know, all that sort of thing. The ace is like a seed. You know? You plant something this big and you can end up with a tree that's hundreds of feet tall. You know? And I love the wand suit. I love every part of the wand suit. But there is something here that's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I'm going to pull another couple of cards just to have a look. Because on the face of this looks like it should be a really good thing. Where's the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands here, please? Six of Wands and Ace of Wands. Six of Wands, Ace of Wands. One more. What a peculiar array of cards. So we've got the Eight of Cups in reverse, we've got the Nine of Pentacles, and we've got the Empress. Come out in that order, like that, right? So the Eight of Cups talks about leaving behind things that are no longer emotionally fulfilling, right? When it's this way up, yeah, it's you know, there's one cup very obviously missing there. And if you stick that cup in, what you've got is the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. You know, and this bloke's gone, this isn't doing it for me anymore. I'm leaving this behind. I'm going off to do something for you. When it comes up this way around, it talks about coming back to something. But that makes me uncomfortable, because if you walked away from something because you felt like there was nothing for you there emotionally, why are you coming back? Like, did you have an epiphany? Did you, at some point you must have left something behind to come back here. You know, is this crappy behaviour that's gone on here? I don't know. You fill in the gaps. And then we've got the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is a similar sort of, there's a similar sort of energetic vibe between these two. You know, this is a card of independence and solo everything, pretty much. But it's somebody who takes care of themselves, you know, self-care, managing their own resources, you know, paying for their own stuff, looking after themselves alone. And this is about, you know, being victorious, quite often alone, you know. But there's a weird kind of, look at the Devil and the Six of Wands there. Like, the chap in the Six of Wands is standing on the back of something that looks like a petrified demon, you know? Maybe you've been successful because this person left, and then they realised how they felt about you and how awful they treated you, and then they came back and you're feeling quite invigorated by that. And you have been on your own, you have been sorting your own stuff out. And then we've got the Empress, which is the card of, for me, Taurus. It can be Libra as well. But she talks of abundance and birthing new things into the world, birthing new ideas into the world, you know, all these kind of things. I need one more because I'm like, what? This one. And we've got the Emperor. So now we've got a pair. The Empress and the Emperor there. It seems like this apology conquered that demon for you and allowed you to stand on its petrified, you know, self. And you're coming back together with someone who feels like your natural counterpart, right? You spend a bit of time on your own and they've come back, right? These clarifying cards don't give me anything particularly to worry about, but that card bothers me a little bit. I'm just going to throw it out there and say it. It actually does. On the face of it, everything else looks like it's kind of sound, and this apology, or, you know, this message, whatever it was, has made you feel very victorious and ready to move on with something new, something, you know, renewed by the looks of it here. Anyway, the final card that you've got is the Hierophant, and that's the card of Taurus. I've got Taurus appearing again. And this speaks of structure and hierarchy. You know, it can talk of business often, it can talk of schools and universities, you know, all that sort of thing. Anyway, where you've got somebody who's at the top and then you've got like graduated layers. And it also talks about secret knowledge to a point, because you've got one person at the top who knows all the things, and he releases a certain amount of information to the next, you know, echelon below, who then release less to the people below. You know, it's an acolyte card. The people right at the bottom of the pyramid know next to nothing, but they work their way up, and then, you know, eventually they get here. You know, but equally for business, it can be a CEO, whatever. But what it does talk about is it talks about commitment. It talks about tradition. It talks about doing things in an established order, in an established process. It can talk of marriage, actually, is what it can talk of. It can talk of, what else? Sometimes it can talk of divorce, actually, but I don't feel like it. That's what we're seeing here. This is a man who knows. And this is a man who is looking for knowledge. So you've gone from the Hermit to the Hierophant. Like, you have the knowledge and you sat there, surrounded by rocks, kind of isolated, with the knowledge. This is very, very weird. The two cards that you've got underneath, the two cards that boxed my head because they came out for Sagittarius as well, is the Two of Swords and the World. Now, the Two of Swords is usually about needing to make a decision. Yeah, it's got a woman, she's holding two swords, she crossed over her heart like that, right? And she's blindfolded. The moon is behind her, the sea is behind her. And the idea is that either of the options that she chooses have equal validity, as you know, indicated by the swords. The swords are identical, you know, and she can't decide which way to go. But for me, I always think that she does know which way to go. She's just actively choosing not to, because the moon is behind her, and the moon is the subconscious, and the water is behind her, and that's, you know, feelings and emotions. It's taking your gut instinct out of the equation. It's taking how you actually feel out of the equation. It's taking your emotional knowledge out of the equation, and trying to make a decision based on something that you cannot see and you cannot, you know, that's how I see that anyway. But this card is slightly different because there's no water on it for a start. The moon is there, but rather than behind, it's above. And this dude, whilst he's got a cloak, you know, a hood over his head, and he's wearing a cloak, his eyes are open. And it feels like there's an intellectual decision that you need to make here. And you know you need to take your emotions out of it. You know, this is about knowledge. This is about an intellectual move forwards. And then the final card that you've got to clarify is the World, which usually depicts the four fixed signs. So Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius and Leo. They're missing on this interpretation of this card. They're not there at all. But this is the end. This is the end of a cycle, right? So the major arcana is known as the Fool's Journey because it starts with the Fool at 0 and then it wends its way through all the cards till it ends up at number 21 here, which is the World. And the idea is that you've gone through an entire cycle, you've learned lots and lots of things, and from here you go back to the Fool and start again. But incorporating all of the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience that you've built up over the previous cycle. You're evolving up, you know, you're leveling up each time. This is making a decision about closing out a cycle. I'm going to pull some more cards about this because I'm finding it very interesting. You know, maybe what this offer is not an apology per se, but maybe it's a proposition to close out what was before, you know, this kind of shady behaviour over here, and start anew in a more positive way. Maybe it's an actual marriage proposal. That's possible. But the fact that the Two of Swords there is making me think that there's something in your mind that's giving you cause to stop and consider whether this is something that you actually want. Although on the face of it, it absolutely all does seem hunky-dory. Two of Swords in the World. Whoa, Two of Swords in the World. Two of Swords in the World. We've got the Eight of Wands, which is about swift moving communication, things coming in fast. I would often say that was email or instant messenger or something like that. And then we've got these two cards that jumped out, and they've kind of jumped out in reverse, and I'm not sure whether they wanted to be in reverse or not, but I'm going to read them that way. Like, the Four of Cups is about missing opportunities. It's about rejecting offers, right? So it feels to me like it is possibly that this is what this entire fucking reading is about. You know, it's got all of those cups, it just doesn't want them. You know, this one's literally being offered. It's an opportunity. It's been offered by, you know, a cloud. Here is a cup. Here is emotion. Here is my cup. And this is about rejecting it. So this is about accepting it. And then we've got that cup again. right here, the same one that's in this card here, is now here. Like, take the fucking cup. That's what this is saying, you know. But what you're dilly-dallying over, what your Two of Swords situation is whether you want to take the cup or whether you want to turn the cup over and say, no, I don't want this cup. You know, because they mean the same thing, and they mean the same thing, almost, in this reading. You know, maybe the Eight of Wands is here because you're actually being pressured to make a decision really, really fast, and you're not actually ready to do that. You haven't done enough contemplation. Yet. But whatever this was, it was an important lesson for you, though, and it's not finished yet. It looks like it will potentially come to a close in the month of December, but you're still very much in the midst of it. But there are things for you to learn here, very much. And it's up to you whether you close out this cycle or whether you renew it almost, and start it again. I'm just going to... because it seems like what's being offered to you is complete emotional fulfillment, and the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. You know, this is what you wanted. Maybe. I hope this is making sense to someone. Can I have some advice for Cancer, please? Advice for Cancer. More advice for Cancer. Oh, what a beautiful combination of cards. Right, the advice is as follows, right? You've got 3 cards and they're all major arcana that have come out, right? You've got the Magician. You've got the Star, card of Aquarius. And you've got the High Priestess, which is the card of Pisces, right? The advice is very clear. You can do absolutely anything that you want to do. You are not trapped. You have all the tools at your disposal that you need to make decisions, to move forwards, to do whatever you want to do. Whether you want to do it with this person or without this person, that's entirely up to you. But you have the power. You are a lot stronger than you think you are. The Star talks about healing, and it talks about hope. You know? It talks about following your star. When everything seems like it's going to shit around you, you know, just follow that star. Just keep the faith. Keep going forwards, you know. And then the High Priestess talks about trusting your intuition. I mean, she knows everything. Right? She doesn't volunteer the information. She's a very passive card, but she knows everything. When you've got these two together, that's incredibly powerful. That's going within to find all of the answers. And these are all the answers. They're right here. But she acts only, she doesn't act at all. She's entirely guided by intuition and from the heart. So make the right decision for you. And you know, when things are feeling a little bit tough, know that you can just follow your star, and you are powerful, super powerful. So much major arcana right here on the table now, you know. You have the ability to heal yourself as well. I think that's an important thing to remember from the star. You know, you don't look to somebody else to heal you for you. You have all the power here. So you can heal yourself, and you can move forwards with great intuition. But you need to spend a bit of time in reflection first. How strange. It's funny that I couldn't... all those positive cards, and it still gave me the heebie-jeebies. So. Right, anyway, if you're still with me and this has resonated, I'd love it if you would leave me, you know, a like or a comment or something. Ace of Cups is at the bottom of this deck as well now. And best of luck to you, Cancer, and I will see you for the December mid-months in just over a week, I think. Right, take care.